You're listening to The Drive on AM 590 ESPN Omaha.
We'll be talking a lot of spring football with Nebraska. Of course, the Iowa Hawkeyes will wrap up their spring practice on Saturday. Just across the river, the Iowa Western Reivers, another solid season last year, playing in a national championship game. They will be conducting their spring practice, and they'll be wrapping up next weekend as we welcome in head coach Scott Strohmeier. And, Coach, I guess, what can you tell us right now with the spring and everything that's going on? Any particular unit or players that are really standing out thus far?
Well, every spring it's always a little bit challenging at this level. You have some returners, but you're bringing in new guys that semester, and we're in practice 15, and we get 20 at this level, so we still got 5 more to go. But we're coming along. I mean, we're probably as talented as we've been, as we were last year at this time. Now that doesn't mean that we're guaranteed going back to the national title game, but I feel from where we're at with the offensive line, I think we're better. We lost 4 starters there. I think we're pretty good there. My quarterbacks are getting a lot of reps. Zach Martin from Omaha North and Najee Jackson from Lincoln Southeast. They're my only 2 in spring, so they're getting a whole bunch of reps. And with defensive lines, our secondary is probably our strongest point though right now.
Coach, at the JUCO level, being as the roster turns over so much anyway, I would have to think that spring practice is just crucial for you guys to get up to speed on everything you're trying to do, right?
It is, and I think, I look back every year. I go back in the years, our 2012 national championship year, we had 18 or 19 starters on that team that were with us in the spring before, and I think last year we were probably about 14 or something like that. But you have to. I mean, because we have such a short window in fall camp to get these freshmen that are graduating or high school, and now they got to play a game in a month, or when they get in camp or in 3 weeks. So spring ball is really huge. We've had a lot of success of being able to retain guys in the program and keep them here. So we're not counting on just that many freshmen every single year. So, I mean, I got to think we'll have some freshmen that are going to come in, or maybe some transfers that are going to come in and maybe take some spots next year. But, they're going to have to be pretty good because I think we got a good core right now.
Scott Strohmeier, head coach for Iowa Western, joining us here on the Julio's Hotline. Coach, when you look at the difference, and I know you mentioned 20 practices as opposed to 15 in Division I, what are some of the bigger differences that a lot of us would maybe not be used to as far as the main differences between junior college spring ball and Division I spring ball?
Well, one, I think the biggest, obviously the practices, but we're a lot more contact probably than they are, but there's not, we're evaluating just like they're probably evaluating their guys. The biggest thing for me, though, they have third or fourth year guys that maybe are starting to come along. They've been in the weight room for three off seasons, and maybe they're not starting, but so they're seeing them grow that much. We get 8 weeks with most of our guys in the off season. So right after the season, an 8-week lifting program. So we don't have the development that they'll have from a standpoint of strength-wise, and we're building ours. We're not here to try to we got to get stronger, but our program's not designed like it is at a 4-year school. They're not asking true freshmen to come in and play all the time, or redshirt freshmen. Now they want to see if they can play in some capacity, where I'm counting on them to play, and ours has got to be scheme and technique, because you can only get so strong in 8 weeks of an off season.
Well, Coach, I know that this past December you guys had 12 young men sign at either the FBS or FCS level, and I obviously after the 2 years that you have, and you love to see them move on to the to the 4-year programs. Has that list grown since that national signing day, or does it still stand at 12 right now?
Yeah, we're at 14 now. We had 2 more sign. With Division I's, the defensive lineman Darius Commission is committed to East Carolina, and Kevin Robbins, another defensive end, is committed to Ohio University. And we'll probably have we could have as much as three more maybe that following their semester grades and that they're taking care of their business, that they'll be able to move on. So we should be in that probably 15 to 17 range again this year that are moving on to the next level.
Yeah, what kind of the challenges does that present for your team when you have guys that are kind of in that limbo type situation?
Well, that's always tough. When especially the mid-year guys, when they got their grades or they're graduating and they don't have the opportunity yet that they're looking for, and it's a stressful time. Guys get a little antsy. We have guys a little bit antsy right now. We have 7 guys I think on our team with offers right now, which is probably the most that we've ever had in spring. But so some of the other guys are maybe, well, why ain't I getting those offers yet? And it takes some time, and shoot, Jake Waters didn't get an offer till midway through the 2012 season, was one of our, and he's, starting quarterback. So we're getting a lot more traffic, which helps. But it comes down to their needs, and they got to come and meet them. The new standards are making it even a little bit more challenging. Coaches got to do a lot more research now than they had in the past, because the junior college needs a 2.5 GPA when 4 years ago it was the 2.0. So the standards have risen, so they got to do a lot more research. So they're going through their process. They don't want to lose scholarships to their their APR, so they just can't be taking kids now. They got to get a lot the right fit, I guess, not only athletically but academically.
It's The Drive, AM 590 ESPN Omaha, talking some Iowa Western football with head coach Scott Strohmeier. Coach, you alluded to Najee Jackson. I had a chance to watch him at Lincoln Southeast a year. I thought he was very impressive. What have you seen in his development this far?
Well, he's really improved, and I think his knowledge I think his understanding of the game is probably the biggest portion. Now he has had a redshirt. He's had 2 off seasons now because he redshirted, and then so this will be his second spring ball that he's going through. But really, I think just understanding the game. Mechanically, he's worked extremely hard. But he's a playmaker. He's athletic, and if he can just continue to improve on his knowledge of the game, we really hang our hat here in offense is taking care of the football and who's going to move the chains. And I need completions and in order with the high tempo offense to keep us on the field and the defense off the field. And that's really the one area where he's improved on. He's starting to complete a lot more balls that he has to complete, and he can make some plays with his feet.
And, Coach, to follow up with that, just if you can kind of give us the real players to watch in 2015, ones that are maybe receiving the most attention at the Division I level, and guys that you really think are going to help you get back to a national championship game.
Well, the biggest one is probably going to be our wide receiver, Taj Williams. He started for us last year, who has 30-plus offers right now. He probably will be one of the top, if not the top, junior college wide receiver, I'm guessing, once the rankings come out. I think he had 70-some catches for us last year, and so we expect big, tall target. He's going to be one. We have a tackle offensive tackle who transferred in from the University of South Carolina, Natai Rogers, who's getting loads of offers as well. I think he's got 13 or 14 right now. A sleeper in the bunch that's coming through is Stacy Keeley from Omaha Northwest. He picked up his first offer from Ohio University the other day, and has really come along. In his progress of becoming a better football player. But there's other ones, but those are probably the 3 that are going to get the most attention. And like I said, we have probably 4 others that have some offers right now, but I would expect another big year from that standpoint.
Iowa Western spring game will be next Friday night out at Lewis Central. Coach, just wanted to get your idea on what fans can expect they come out to watch the spring game.
Well, we try to get a lot of plays, and this is really because we have to trim our roster. We don't have to trim it now, but we have 20 out-of-state roster limitations. So, like some of these guys, we're bringing them in. This is their game. This is their time to evaluate, to showcase, get some film, and so we really want to let them play. It's a live deal. This year because of numbers, we're going to have to go offense versus defense. But we're going to get 120 to 130 plays in, and just make sure that our guys get the opportunities to. We're not holding anything back. It's not on the Big Ten Network, so nobody will be watching it. So we can go out there and do everything that we want to do.
Scott Strohmeier, head football coach for Iowa Western, looking to get back to the national championship game in 2015. And they're starting the preparation right now with a spring game next Friday at Lewis Central Field. Coach, always appreciate our time together. We wish you the best of luck going forward, and we'll catch up during the fall.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Always good to talk some Reiver football, Nick Handley. And, boy, they've had some good ones come through that program in the last few years. Obviously, Jake Waters. Yeah. Dion Long is a guy who, I don't know if he's going to get drafted or not, but certainly has a shot at the next level. Geronimo Allison's going to be fun to watch at Illinois this year. So
Geronimo Allison had a hell of a spring game.
Yes, he did.
Great spring game.
Yes, he did.
Well, and I was talking to Jake Ryan, of course, the voice of the Reivers, and he had mentioned Taj Williams, and I believe this young man is already getting looks from Alabama, is getting looks from Clemson. I mean, you talk about that kind of attention from those kind of SEC, ACC powers like that. That's the kind of players you're seeing at Iowa Western. That's the kind of football that you get a chance to see. And I know everybody is driven towards Lincoln on game days, and I understand that, but it's pretty remarkable with what Scott Strohmeier, his coaching staff, the kind of players that they are getting to a tiny little junior college in the Midwest like Iowa Western, a really still relatively new football program too, and some of the talent that is going through that current football program. It's no wonder that they're competing for national championships on the reg.